What's up everyone, this is Bacon, and today is a Clash of Critters video, and today I want to talk about whether or not Clash of Critters is heavily a pay-to-win game, or if it is more free-to-play friendly. I think this is more helpful for maybe people who are just starting out or thinking about whether or not they want to pick it up or not, or just people just want to listen to me talk about this, and that's fine too. But overall, I have some thoughts on Clash of Critters now that it's been out for almost 3 months. I've been kind of thinking about this because it's kind of a unique game in the sense of there's different ways to be pay to win. So what I mean by that is there are some things like the marathon event that is starting soon. This is a competition. You have your teams of 4 and then you compete against other people, and it's very pay to win heavy. There's also the events like the fishing event where it is pay to win. I could buy a bunch of stuff and then just keep fishing forever, and then I would just have the advantage in that way. However, there are also some tactics you can do as a free-to-play player to get in the top 10 ranking and be pretty well off overall. And so I think there's a kind of balance of, yes, there are competitions through the events. You have the farming event, you have marathon party, you have gold rush. These are all pay to win. Like if you want to pay, you can win those events. However, there's also a lot of free to play friendly things in the game. For example, I've spent in the first month maybe $40 or $50 on the game, and since then I've really eased off. I'll spend maybe $3 every 2 weeks. Like it's been super light. I don't really spend much anymore just because I don't really feel the urge to spend money on the game. And some people are continually just spending, whether it's monthly packs, weekly packs, or just some of these flash sales that go on. But I think something to keep in mind is, yes, the game is pay to win. If I go to Gold Rush, I am not going to be able to beat someone who is just absolutely dominating Gold Rush. I've been in Gold Rushes where one person will literally just take the entire map, or like 2/3 of the map. It's ridiculous. And this little bar up here, this will be like maxed out, and then we'll be like all the other 3 teams are like this level. And so clearly you can just throw your wallet at the game and then win. And some people, that's what they enjoy about the game, and that's something fun. However, I do think it's worth mentioning, if you are just a free-to-play player and you do your best at events, you optimize strategies, you do different, that you save up pinballs for certain events, you don't just spend them frivolously, and you just kind of play for a long time, casually, you're going to also just kind of get more Tataris over time. You're going to level them up, you're going to build them up, you're going to have fun. There's things like Horde where you can actively improve how you do in Horde. There are things like the campaign where you can actively improve. There's the bossing that you can just kind of get better at over time. Dojo, stuff like that, where you can just play for a while and you are just naturally going to do better. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't pay-to-win mechanics in those things too. For example, boss challenge, I can make a really good team, but I am not going to get in the top, 5 or 10 on my current server unless I'm dropping some big money, and that's just how it is, and I've accepted that. I'm fine with that. However, over time, some of these people are probably going to stop playing. I'm going to keep progressing, and I'm just going to kind of move on and pass them, and maybe I'll have a higher boss level than some of these people. But personally, what I enjoy about Clash of Critters is the collection and leveling up my characters component, and less the competition. I personally, yes, you get better rewards for placing higher, which then kind of self-feeds some of these things, like being able to evolve some of your Tataris faster. But I just like kind of leveling up certain Tataris, involving them, participating in the trials, and then just kind of testing out different ones, feeding them, improving their stats over time, and then just kind of repeating. It's almost like a collection type game for me at this point, where if you just play and play and play, free to play completely, over time you will have most Tataris in the game at tier 3. You can see here I have 14 of them, and there's this many left. Some of these are tier 2, so you don't really count those. And so for a game that's been out for 2.5 months and that's all I've been playing for, that's pretty solid. And if you look at some of the people who've been playing since, a year ago in the open beta, a lot of them have almost every Tatari at tier 3 and a bunch of them at tier 4 even. So it's not that you necessarily will never be able to get some of these Tataris to a point that you want. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And so when I ask the question, is Clash of Critters pay to win, or is it more free to play friendly? I would say it's both. If you want to just come in here and what matters most to you is beating other people, you're gonna have to throw your wallet at it. If you want to rank the top in certain games or events or modes, you're gonna have to throw your wallet at the game, or you're just not gonna get the top. Or you have to have a friend who's throwing their wallet at it and you're on their team, because I've had that happen too, where I will participate in a marathon event or a fishing event and I'll do my best, but then someone's just like 10x the amount of resources I have and we just win automatically. And sometimes that's just what people enjoy. But I personally, I enjoyed the free-to-play component. I think it is an enjoyable game for free-to-play players overall. Now, I think it really depends on the person. If you're wanting to just speed run the game, try to progress as many chapters as possible, you're gonna have to spend some money. I personally have not really been pushing my chapters lately because I'm kind of waiting to see if I just kind of let things settle and then try pushing after like a week of not pushing actively, how far I can actually push. And I actually think I'm gonna be doing that on a stream, so keep an eye out for that. I'll probably stream some Clash of Critters content for the first time sometime later this week, I'm hoping for. So keep an eye out for that. But overall, my consensus, like I've said before, yes, pay to win for certain parts of the game, but I think it is a very enjoyable game for those who are more free to play focused, which I think isn't how every game is, because you could say, well, technically any game is free to play if you don't spend money, which is true. However, keep in mind there are a lot of games where as a free to play player you just hit a wall really hard and just nothing happens for a week or two, and then your progress is like super minimal, and then you just hit a wall again. But this game, you're just kind of consistently getting copies of Tataris, you're consistently getting marbles, like the resources are coming in. It is, you might not get as many wish boxes to evolve your Tataris, you might not get as many food items, and you might not get as many pinballs, but overall, the flow is there. It just takes some time, and you still hit certain power spikes, or rather like resource spikes, like in Dojo. Whenever I unlock a Dojo and I clear it all, it just feels so good getting all those resources. So you do get these different kind of spikes of big resources. It just looks a little different as a free-to-play player. So if you are thinking of picking up this game and you're more of a free-to-play player focus, I would say give it a try. I've overall really enjoyed it. I've been mostly a low spender or free-to-play player over the last month or so, and I haven't really felt like I'm just like at a huge disadvantage. I'm not getting first place on events for the most part, but I'm still getting good resources. I'm still getting top 10 on these events, where top 10 is going to give you some solid resources overall. So that's my video for the day. Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious what you guys think. Obviously, there is a spinning component. I don't want people to say, well, yeah, Bacon, there is a spinning component. I know that. I'm just curious, do you feel like it's pretty generous for free-to-play players, or is it pretty annoying not being a spender? Let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you like and subscribe for more content, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.